Welcome to the Squarebase Show. Me, your host Rob, and my co-host Val will be talking about the most exciting news that's happened in the old world yet. The launch announcement has happened, and we are about to talk about it. The old world is releasing in 2024.
Oh, Robert, how you doing?
Merry Christmas to all of our Square-based fans and also round-based fans who enjoy some Square-based content, because there are some of those.
Our first inclusive intro. That's very nice. And I just wanted to also say, Merry GEHEIMNISNACHT. Just a little bit of fantasy lore, or the Day of Mystery, or the Floating Holiday, Winter's Eve in Bretonnia, Twilight's Tide to the elves, and Azurukirol to the dwarves.
Christmas exists in the old world.
Yes, it's GEHEIMNISNACHT.
Sorry, I missed what it was called. Sorry, one more time.
Geheim. Excuse me. GEHEIMNISNACHT. GEHEIMNISNACHT.
Well, happy GEHEIMNISNACHT to you too, and to everyone. I would like immediately everyone listening to this as a podcast on YouTube or even in the chat right now. I'd like some GEHEIMNISNACHTs stick in comments. Wish us all a happy GEHEIMNISNACHT.
We all need that.
We all need that, please. That would be really good. GEHEIMNISNACHT Christmas jumpers for next year. Put that on the merch ideas list.
You know, that's getting to be a long list, Tom.
Tom. Poor Tom. Okay, right. So today is a really exciting day. First, I'm going to catch up with Val and see how his Christmas went and like what we're excited about. But we can't obviously ignore the fact that the announcement has been made about the launch of the old world. There's loads of amazing stuff to talk about with that. Some of it's great, some of it's a little disappointing. But I mean, effectively, the game is going to be out very, very soon, and that is wildly exciting. So if you are a fan,
truly happy GEHEIMNISNACHT to both of us, because what a delivery from old Santa Claus. A little late, that's fine. He had lots to do, but then was it the Boxing Day? Was it the Day of Boxes?
Boxing Day.
We finally got some information, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, very, very exciting. Yeah, really. And we're going to talk about that. And also, I have a absolutely massive rumor for, as we know, we do the rumors at the end. A massive rumor for the end. A large rumor. I already told you about it, so like you already know, but like a large rumor for the end.
Val and Robbie in the morning.
Also, Boxing Day, also known as Boxtag. So if you want old Santa to have a chance at any of that cheddar, I recommend YouTube Super Thanks, Patreon. Just getting siphoned off by our friends at Twitch here.
Yeah, no, the donations don't, which is nice.
As the subsidiary of the Honest Wargamer, some things have to go up the chain to pay off Big Papa, you know.
That's true. Right, okay. So listen, thanks JJ for resubscribing, and thanks everyone. By the way, I want to do a special shout also to everyone who subscribed and joined us on the Squarebase Patreon. That's super weirdly unnecessary. We do plan to make a lot of content for it next year, but right now people just supporting because they love the show, and that's kind of overwhelming. You noticed that we've actually past couple of videos have been popping off, and you were hyped. So I'm excited because I know Val's enthusiasm, and I hope my enthusiasm does come through as well. For the old world is very, very real. I felt, do you know what? I've recently in conversations,
the old world is a real place, right?
Yeah. I felt like a little bit of a shill past couple of days because people have been like, yeah, but it won't be very good, will it? And I'm like, it'll be different. Like, it'll be different. Like, you got to understand, it's going to be different. Yeah, they're like, Rob, the models are so old. And I'm like, listen, you don't have to have those models. Some people like those models. And I'm like, listening to myself, I'm like, who are you?
What have you become, Robert?
What have you become? Okay, so Merry Christmas. Have you got any Square-based over the Christmas period? Has been too busy?
It has been a lunatic's asylum of Christmas spirit over here at the Heffel House. And no, I have not had much time. I didn't even see that we went up over 10,000 views on our last episode. I believe we beat out on the topic of Universal Army building. I believe we took out the Great Book of Grudges. Finally, it happened.
So we have now. Does that mean we've entered the Great Book?
Well, we were in the book before we had a show, so that's fine. But no, Nathan killing it over there, and I was really happy to maybe edge him out. Although I don't know that. I haven't gone back to confirm. He's just cranking out the hits left, right, and center. So it's nice to be hanging in there.
Yes,
and then,
well, it just really showcases that Square Based is the place to be for your old world news, which is what we wanted. Which is what we wanted.
mean, does anyone else have a child-sized Santa costume that they can't remotely close? No, you only get that on the Square Based.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Right, so it's been a busy Christmas. You've not had much time for the Square Basing, but I'm sure it's been percolating in the back of your brain, like many people over the Christmas period.
Been thinking about it.
Yeah,
and also the Square rebasing going to be coming our way. Can't wait to. I'm shocked we still haven't gotten any hints beyond like a few profile reveals, but hopefully.
Could you expand on what you mean by that?
Oh, just mean like obviously there's some changes to some base sizes. With whatever's coming, and originally they said that they would release this information ahead of launch. I swear to God they said that. I kind of need to corroborate that, but pardon me, we haven't seen anything, right? So like, no one can really do anything. Or the advice that stands is you start painting your models, but don't put them on bases. Literally, what they told us to do.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see what the official. We officially know that at least some cavalry is going to 30 by 60, which allows us to infer that probably some large infantry is going to 30 by 30. We know there's a weird 40 by 60 as well on the unicorn. So there's some weird stuff going on, but we don't know what stays and what changes, etc.
Well, so that brings up my first topic. Before we dive into the news, I know everyone's very excited to talk about the news, so I don't want to like vamp too much, but. Something I did notice, I got the opportunity to do a lot of social media scrolling over Christmas, and
nice.
Something I did notice was a absolutely insane uptick in posts of fully painted units or a couple of models. I was seeing things being either rebased or I was seeing whole units finished off, and I was like stunned because like. Obviously, like the people who I've followed and those other things over the years, generally, even though I did used to play Warhammer Fantasy Battle until it was blown up. So like, there's still probably like, people I follow, but it was like post after post after post. I was like, wow, this is I think really inspired a lot of people, which is really fun to see, and it was fun to see them. It really was fun to see them. And some of the paint jobs, shout out to old Mr. Two Thin Coats himself, Duncan J. Rhodes. Yeah, the Roadster. He painted up some Bretonnians, and they're just the original sculpts. And
he called it his favorite model of all time.
Yeah, and that was stunning. Did you see the paint job on that?
Oof. I did. I just love like it's adorable that he's just hanging in there with the base and highlight method.
Yeah, it's like it's pretty tragic, but it looks great. It looks great. So that's my first.
I like to handwrite my letters.
Yeah, I was thinking now, I don't want to become too much to these guys, but I was thinking you and me could do a segment next time we record where we just if we just get a quick favorite, army or picture or thing that we saw this week.
A little show and tell?
Just a little like, I like this picture. Because I thought about it yesterday. I was like, I really should have screen capped some of those because they look stunning. Okay. So I think that would be fun, right?
There's some amazing stuff out there.
Okay. Do you want to take your Christmas outfit off? Wardrobe change, here we go. Live on air. That, you see, is movie. That's movie magic.
Yeah, no, it's like, no, guys, I'm not actually Santa, but it is GEHEIMNISNACHT.
GEHEIMNISNACHT. All right, so that's my first bit of news. My second bit of news, if you don't mind, real quick.
Go ahead.
Is two things. One, the preparation for the old world. I managed to pick myself up some from my Necromunda set.
Yeah.
Got myself some templates.
Oh, obvi Necromunda set.
Okay, got myself from there.
Yeah.
But where I am struggling, now there are some scatter dice available online that are super easy, and you're all going to laugh at me because, of course, I could just use a D6 to do an artillery dice, but I cannot. I cannot get my hands on an artillery dice. And yes, Games Workshop will start selling them again, but also they sell.
Actually, so you didn't catch this. This is a little bit of spoil the lead, but did you catch this little minor drama?
No, I didn't. Tell me the minor drama.
the boxes. We're blowing the lead here. Warhammer The Old World's coming, guys. The box set did not include a mention of artillery dice, only the scatter dice. So everyone's losing their mind. Everyone's speculating that the misfire dice is gone. Looking for one of those?
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Wow. Okay. You want to be careful.
So, yeah,
You're going to have a...
Yeah,
it's like 20 D6. When we go through the article, pay close attention. It's like 20 D6, a scatter dice, but no mention of the artillery dice, which is funny.
For podcast listeners, Val just got out the Warhammer Fantasy Battle gold template set, which he needs to be careful because in 2023, when those were originally out, obviously they were a big deal. But in 2023, he's going to have like some TikTok influencers trying to take some photos in front of those if he's not careful. If you leave them on like when you leave a Bugatti on the street and everyone takes a photo in front of it.
When I go to the steakhouse, I leave my 8th edition templates in the front.
I would. Okay, so templates, but can't find scatter dice. I can find scatter dice. Actually, they're okay to find online, but I can't find artillery dice. And I don't want to be a little baby about this, but I don't know about anyone else. But I like to bling up. If you're playing an army, I like my dice to match my army. When I play my Chaos Dwarves, I had fire dice specifically to play with my Chaos Dwarves. I had completely different blue dice to play with my Lizardmen back in the day. So I wanted to bling up some artillery dice. And in the year of our Lord, 2023, the fact that I can't bling up, I can't even get an artillery dice. Yeah. Like
You gotta be somewhere.
I have looked. Let me tell you, there's some eBays, and I'm like, I ain't buying your tatty, dirty eBay artillery dice.
Your grubby, old, greasy, change the oil in your car, and played some Warhammer dice. No.
They'll have taken all of the 10s out of them, all of them. Like they'll have rolled them out. Like they'll
just
done.
completely. The first ever dice I ever bought that were like from a shilling enterprise was the tabletop tactics dice, and the original dice I bought from them were incredibly cheap, and the logo wore off all of them.
Oh
so,
no,
damn it, Lawrence!
God damn it! Okay, dice are actually hard to do, and there are some dice. Baron of Dice has got some, but they say miscast instead of misfire, and it pisses me off.
That's not right.
No, right? I want it to say misfire. I want it like, or boom, or get fucked, or, like any of those. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Well, okay, so then I guess we have two things we need to order from Baron of Dice. One, custom square-based misfire dice. And by the way, if you want to roll less misfires, definitely don't call them misfire dice, because that's what I call them. And I misfire all the goddamn time. And that's putting that voodoo out in that universe. You don't want that. But we need some square-based dice. Damn it.
Okay, well, we could do that.
Can I request for the square-based dice? Tom, take a note.
Okay.
I request
it's Christmas.
Numbers, not pips.
Numbers, not pips.
Numbers, not pips. Hit me in the comments. Would you be into numbers, not pips? Obviously, square-based sick-ass logo on the 6.
Oh, my God. You are like... Square edges, obviously. Rounded edges.
Yeah. Hardest.
The hardest square edge.
We're casino legal here.
Yeah.
At the Square Base Podcast.
Yeah, like a laser. I want people wounded.
That's right. You pick them up, we just cut you.
Right, okay, let's get on with the news. And we're going to jump straight into this article because this is the news, and this is absolutely stunning and huge. Stunning and brave and huge is what it is.
We're going right to the deep end and we're diving head first. This ain't no pencil dive. We're not cannonballing. We're going.
We're going straight in. It's very exciting. And this time I actually remembered to put it into the overlay.
What are you talking about? Nothing happened. Everything's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. No one paid attention. Right, okay, so... Warhammer The Old World, The Tomb Kings of Khemri Revealed is a weird title. Don't want to be a bitch, just going to start there. It's a weird title for, by the way, this is what the launch of the Warhammer The Old World looks like, is an odd title.
Also, yeah, it's not just the Tomb Kings of Khemri being revealed here.
No, that's what I mean. Like, it's like loads.
Yeah, no, I mean, they could have workshopped that one a little, but hey, they were on deadline. It was time to get home for GEHEIMNISNACHT. And, they needed to get out of there. So they just, hit up ChatGPT. This does look a lot like what ChatGPT might spit out. as a guy who's used ChatGPT a few times. Anyway,
did they not even wish you GEHEIMNISNACHT in the article?
These kids these days, they just don't celebrate the old holidays like they used to, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I do. All right, so ignore the frankly misleading title, and we'll jump into what they have showcased, which is exciting. So they've shown off the Tomb Kings and Bretonnian core boxes. So there we go. I gotta say, kind of, if you don't mind me just pitching in from the start, that artwork on the boxes, 11 out of 10 for me. This is exactly what I want. This is great. It gives it a historicals vibe. It looks cool. What do you think?
It looks amazing. Can I do one thing? Can you just scroll up like a half tick?
Yeah. Return to the world of legend. Perfect.
I've used my very expensive thing now for the first time in the show, so that's great.
Okay, the world of legend, and we did talk about this on a previous show. We've been hyping up this term, the world of legend, quite a bit. Now everyone else is catching up with us, but the world of legend seems to be at least the setting, because we're going to hit a particular time period for this release of the old world, meaning that we might jump around the time period of the world of legend at some point.
The more I contemplate how specific this game is, timeline wise, and how they've there's other stuff that they've done too outside of this article to really place it in a specific area and time. The more hopeful I am that future ones can just go to a different point on the timeline. You know what I mean? So I think this is super cool. I really love that they've grounded it. This edition is Warhammer The Old World. Specifically, and that to me says that there could be other subtitles in the future that take place in
the world of legend.
The world of legend. I hope. I don't know. Like, we're so early. What do we want? Like, that's a video we should definitely do. What do we want from the 3-year, 5-year, whatever cycle it's going to be? Do we want them to? Do we want to jump into a new timeline in the future? And then I think that's going to be I think that's quite interesting as well. I'm very interested. I think that's just definitely there's a whole subject to unpack there in the future, I think.
Can we also just talk about how just this I love that fantasy hasn't been on shelves for almost a decade, and it comes back with a box that's just the most man spread of all time. Look at the thickness of this box. Oh, the box is almost as thick as it is wide.
Yeah, this is a biggie.
Incredible. It's like a foot thick. It's incredible. I kind of want to keep this box somewhere. Maybe as a spare room for if the kiddos are having a sleepover or something, they could just hang out in the Warhammer box.
Yeah, well, I was thinking I might just use them to move house.
Right, easily.
Absolutely, no drama there.
maybe that's what was actually happening. The guy who leaked this was actually just moving house, and he was just documenting how many boxes he needed, and he accidentally leaked the Tomb King's box.
I gotta say, I think another thing that you could do potentially is if you were to be really smart, let's get ourselves a printed second shelf in there. Magnetize the bottom, magnetize that second shelf. That's your army box right there for carrying.
Oh.
That's stick a couple of those handles that you can glue on the side of things. You've just built yourself a carry case out of joy.
You know, let's hobby this up. Let's hobby up the Warhammer The Old World box. It is epic. I love how thick this thing is, and also it's that big simply because they used old models. I really wonder what it'd be great to go business school on this and just calculate the how much more it would have cost to retool or redo all these sculpts versus the amount of extra shipping costs it will be per unit to not do that because of the size of this box.
It's very meaty.
Hilarious. Because it's basically double. This is basically double. Any just eyeballing this, if you put the Leviathan box set or I used to know the name of the Last Age of Sigmar one next to this, I swear to God, it's got to be at least double thick.
Yeah, so a lot of people are going to be, and again, comments in the YouTubes and comments in the chat. Thank you, Daniel Alexander, for donating 10 gift subscriptions to the chat. Incredible. Merry Christmas to you. That's great. Stunning. Yeah. I guess people are going to be asking the price. And obviously, based in the different region you are, in Canada, it'll be $8 billion redos. Not Canada, sorry, Australia, England, we're not sure. I don't know. It's going to somewhere. I think it'll be somewhere between the 100. Yeah, let's do a guess, and then we can do that for who was closest when it gets announced. Do you want to go first, or?
Okay, so I have to go. Well, what would the AOS or 40K starter be in British pounds? That's where I have to work from.
I don't remember. It's like 140, I think, which is what my guess is. My guess is 140.
Okay. All right, 140. So that'd be like 250 Canadian.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay, yeah. All right. That'd be good. It feels like it's got to be less than 300 Canadian to me. And I feel like they're trying to get people to play this. So I assume it's going to be at the same level as the other ones.
I think they don't get to. I think though, Forge World specifically. So SDS, who make our saviors SDS and our hero JTY, they obviously don't get to pick. I think, unfortunately, it does. Once it gets past them, it goes into the boardroom where they cut the head off a chicken, and then it then lands on some random price. Then someone, while in the corner furiously masturbating over a picture of the Queen, then says, add £20! And then we get the final price. I've worked at Games Workshop. That is historically accurate.
Also, that's just how people do pricing in everything. So, I mean, I'm not going to hate on them in too much. I remember walking down a street and there were some guys who were like about to sandblast the front of an old brick building. And they turned to me and was like, hey, you think like $600 would be enough to sandblast this? You think that's fair? I was like, dude, I have no idea. Why are you? I am literally a guy walking down the street. Why are you asking me about your profession? So maybe that's what they did. Mate, how much would you pay for a bunch of really old skeletons? So the Warhammer the Horse Heresy, Age of Darkness, probably, I've said this many times, one of the best looking, greatest value sets I've ever seen. 185, which comes out to about $350 in Canadian dollars. So there's my guess, 185, if not 190.
Okay.
Because, just a little uptick for inflation.
Well, I think this is going to be one of those fun things that people do, but it's kind of one of those things like it's also things I don't really engage with content, rumor mills and like price points, because I'm just like, it is what it is, right? Like nothing I can do in a conversation detracts from that. So it'd be cool if it's cheap. If it's not cheap, then whatever.
If you're a certain kind of person, Warhammer is what economists call an inelastic good, up there with gasoline and food.
Yeah. Okay. Agreed. Good. Thanks, boss.
I.e., price is the price, guys.
The price is the price.
A lot.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the world, grown up. Right.
If you gotta ask, you can't afford it. That's a horrible thing to say. But yes.
So there is no single launch box. Yeah, it's not very square-bast. There is no single launch box for Warhammer The Old World. Instead, there are two separate, and massive core army boxes. Who's been saying that for months?
I would say a damn near a year. We're almost at our 1 year anniversary, Rob.
Oh, congratulations to us. So we've been calling that. Containing a full 1,250 point army with dozens of all plastic miniatures. On top of that, you get a complete 352 page hardback Warhammer The Old World rulebook. That is a lot.
How many?
352 pages. I'm sorry. I didn't know Old World was just a reading exercise, like a fucking book club. I've already booked out the local council hall, so I can start doing the book club for the Old World.
Actually, Rob, I just want to like, I don't want to like get us in any trouble or anything, but I just want you to know I have the rule book.
Oh my god, let me
have it. I actually have it. I have the rule book.
Right here. Oh, I know what this is referencing. That's good.
You can just you can ask me any questions you want. I got it right here.
Yeah, good.
AMA. All right.
AMA. Ask me anything apart from my NDA. Okay. Okay.
You can tell those guys at G Dubs that Val has the rule book. That he was flashing it.
That guy getting it absolutely. That's a referential joke, which Val's referencing a man who later on, after doing that, got definitely ear fucked by someone at Games Workshop. Like he had someone's dick in his ear for I imagine quite a considerable amount of time.
The TO of Nova and maker of the Square Hammer channel may have gotten a little horny and showed off his BBB, his Big Blue rule Big Blue
rule book. BBRB. Yeah,
BRB.
BRB. Yes, to this conversation. Let me move on, please. Right. So you get 352 pages of hardback Warhammer, which actually, good point from you. Huge.
Gigantic. It's very large.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the reasons why I was doing that bit was because I wanted to actually see where did we last leave off? How many pages? Oh, dude, they hired an editor.
Oh,
there's
what?
500 pages in this thing.
In the Big Red Book?
Big Red Book is 511 pages.
To be fair, they copy and pasted a lot of that from the book previously. So,
yes.
So, anyway. So, huge book, which does mean, and we already know this already, but a glut of rules. Probably not missions, but a glut of rules.
That's going to be a lot of rules. Maybe some cool new lore. Maybe they'll tweak some things. Who knows?
Well, that is going to be actually really interesting because we're at a time period, and we should talk about that later, where some pretty momentous stuff happens. And if they start retconning that momentous stuff, ladies and gentlemen, we are in what they call a multiverse, which means I've only watched half a film of Doctor Strange, but I think this means we'll wear cloaks now. I'm not sure how that works.
We live in phone booths.
Yeah.
I would say, well, we've actually this was an early Square Base shout out when we were speculating on the setting. We actually discussed there's the fantasy universe is already a multiverse. There's obviously the end times timeline that leads to AOS. There's the old Storm of Chaos timeline that led to an almost AOS where Chaos kind of wins that sort of end times battle. That was a global campaign they did.
Retconned.
And of course, there's Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl is also an alternative universe of fantasy. And there's probably some other weird branches in the lore tree. So it's not impossible, but I wouldn't pine for it. Also, quite frank, I think the whole thing is better. The whole thing is better to have. I'm personally more interested now, and it's weird to say this, but I'm more interested in AOS now because this exists. You know what? Instead of it being this thing that was the world that was, it's a continuation. It's a timeline. So there's more of a I don't know. There's more of an interest to see where it goes to me. To actually even have a concept of what AOS is about, because now we have sort of where it came from. Man?
No, man. I'm with you. I'm on your side. Okay, so we get the 352-page rule book, which is going to add to the cost of these boxes. A 4-page reference sheet, which I think is going to be very handy. 20 D6 dice. Shut up. 1 6-sided scatter dice, but
just one.
No artillery dice. And for people who don't know what we're talking about, an artillery dice is a dice that says explosion 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Producing the famous catchphrase 10 from the back.
That's right.
10 from the back.
10 from the back.
10 from the back. And so
I wonder if that'll still be a thing.
Oh, it's interesting. It's interesting. And then 3 weapon templates, which available on eBay and Etsy, FYI. That is one place I know you can get those. 2, but no good fantasy ones. Again, gap in the market. Let's get ourselves.
What would a good
laser cutter.
We probably don't want to tip our IP ideas, but as cool as this is, and how as good as it looks next to a Tesla Model S, just sort of leaned up. It's not really great. It's actually kind of terrible. That's the little template in the middle, and that's the biggie, obviously. Yeah. So I don't know how good this actually is. So maybe we could do better than that.
Well, I mean, again, that's I really feel like they went for style over function with the glorious gold set.
As you do.
As you do. Yeah, you got to pimp it out. And then 2 classic red plastic measuring sticks and transfer sheets. I'd like to talk about those measuring sticks for a moment. Famously weren't accurate.
Really?
Yeah.
I've actually never heard that.
Yeah. Famously, some of them just were not the size they're meant to be. Which is pretty good.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I'm currently CSI enhancing the back shot of the release box from the factory floor.
Yeah.
Just trying to see if you can spot whether or not there's multiple larger D6 shaped dice there. Inconclusive, chat. Inconclusive. No idea if the misfire dice are in fact gone.
One of the hottest takes apparently I ever made on the internet, which got me so much fury in the comments, which I've never seen before. And I've said this again and again, is people who use 12mm dice are weirdos. Like
little ones?
Yeah, if you're not using, little ones. Like you can use those as wound markers, no problem. But you roll 16mm. And if you don't, I'm going to question a lot of things about you.
So here's my theory on that.
Yeah.
I find that I just from a matter of practicality, especially this goes back to playing 40k orcs, I prefer rolling the little dice because it's buckets of friggin' dice. And it's helpful to have smaller dice in that scenario. And I think the only reason people roll the larger dice is because all the bat rep guys started rolling the larger dice because that shows up better on camera. So really, if you're rolling the big dice, you're just a poser.
No, you roll the big dice so your opponent across the table can see what your results are as well. You're involving them in them. Like when then little dice, I'm looking across, I'm like, what have you rolled there? He's like, you can't see. It's basically minuscule at that point.
They are tiny. But I mean, we do paint and play with miniatures here. So I mean, eyesight is, I mean, it's ableist for sure. It's an ableist thing.
Yeah, exactly.
No
Let's be more square-bassed. Large dice, please.
No doubt.
Right?
Larger dice. Got it.
Okay, larger dice equals
with
small
numbers,
PP.
not pips.
With numbers, okay. Right, okay, so Launchbox. We see what's in the Launchbox now. We talked about this already on previous stream, but we can talk about it one final time. Bone Dragon, a bunch of... Oh, it does say what's in here. Lich Priest, 93 Tomb King miniatures, including new Lich Priest on Necrolith Bone Dragon, which additionally can be built as a Tomb King on foot, or built instead as a Tomb King on Bone Dragon.
That just always made me giggle because I just imagine someone like opening it up, being like, oh, what? I don't want this dragon. Just throws it in the garbage, just makes the little Tomb King.
Yeah, just that's it. Get rid of this.
Get rid of this shit.
And then
is that a sculpted base? By the way, can we go up? I actually haven't noticed this. So he comes on his own little sculpted base.
Well, it'll be something that you attach to a square base, right?
Yeah. Sorry, but he's got his own rock.
And it does give me a better picture. And you and me have been talking about this a lot. Let's not go into detail in this, but that Tomb King on foot looks to be at a 32mm scale versus 28mm heroic.
Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. He is taller. I mean, these skeletons are incredibly squatty potty. I mean, that is one thing. Like he's got like much more of an athletic stance, little less flex in his knees. I really wonder why they sculpted everything like this back in the day. But yeah, so what I'm saying is the Tomb King skeletons are really down in their haunches. They're like ready to do like the New Zealand war dance before a rugby game. Whereas these guys, this Tomb King, he is standing up tall. He's got his knees are up, virtually ready to walk. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, is he like if those Tomb Kings, if those skellies were actually standing up straight, I don't know if they'd really mismatch or not. I don't know.
I think, well, okay, so just to bring everyone into the conversation, effectively, and Val has talked about this loads, and he knows much more than me, but just a quick TLDR, Warhammer Fantasy is mainly scaled at 28mm heroic, which means the body's 28mm, but the hands and heads 32. Too
Pretty
big.
much, yeah.
They're too big.
Yeah.
And then my assumption has been that they're going to upscale everything 32mm. But Val makes the exceptional point that even if they do that, because they are releasing old models, it's going to take generations to upscale everything 32mm. So if you were 3D printing, should you print them at 28mm or 32mm? Val, what do you think?
I think, well, actually, because this is actually a chasing the tail thing. So actually, last year when I started printing stuff for fantasy, I ran into this trying to print goblins. And the actual answer is because most STL companies, like designers who make third-party stuff, they're actually sculpting based on what you learn in sculpting school. proportionality. They're sculpted to proper proportions of a person. So if you print at 32 millimeter, your guy looks way too tall. If you print at 28 millimeter, they look way too small. It's actually like putting a Lord of the Rings miniature next to a fantasy or old 40K miniature. So really, what you got to shoot for is something, I think, right in the middle. You got to go about 30 millimeter. You shoot the gap. They're a little bit bigger and a little bit smaller, and I think they fit in the best somewhere around 30 millimeter.
Whereas my advice is get off the fence, pick a side. 32 mil, be big. Yeah, big dice, big minis.
My actual and so my answer is for humanoid things. You want 30 millimeter, because that'll I think look right. For dwarves, you probably want to get it smaller than that even. But for anything that's like monstrous, we're talking lizard men or chaosy things or whatever. Go to 32. Doesn't matter, because like those things are fantastically large, like imposing creatures anyway. So like there's no reason that they need to like meet some sort of a visual scale. I think you don't get the dissonance if those guys are bigger than their old models used to be or whatever. Hence why like the new Seraphon line is gonna fuck when it's on squares. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, that's that'll be my official stance. Go 32 if it's like chaos or anything that's not humanoid, or like could be magically beefy. But if you want to kind of match the look and feel, I think you kind of gotta like go 30.
Okay, so it's a thing that very few people might care about, but it's actually fairly important, especially when we get to talk about some of the stuff later, because to blow the lead, some of the stuff isn't going to be available. So we'll come to that in a bit. Okay.
Some?
Yeah, you're right. But okay, so that's the box. What do you think is the offering as a box? I guess that's kind of quick fire. What do you think of the offering? Good, bad?
This comes down to how much you like or dislike these skeletons. I'm not going to lie to you. I think just being around these friggin' things for so much time now, thinking about them, talking about them, I hate them less and less every day. Also, this paint job, I think, does them a lot of favors. I think going with that red spear on the sort of off-white bone hands kind of helps a little bit with it for whatever reason. I'm making things up. I don't know why. I hate them a lot less than I used to. Also, could be good value in this set. Who knows? Something I want to point out, though, Rob. I have said in the past that I believe all horsies will wind up on the larger base sizes. These skeleton horsies, however, lacking flesh, sure look like they're on 25s to me.
Yeah, I think we might see some 25s and some 30 by 30s or 30 by 60s. So I think it's going to be interesting when we do get that base size. And we have said that when all the info is out, me and the Hef will be trying to bring you a base size guide to help everyone out ASAP.
Available for free. Very square-based.
Yeah, very square-based. Okay,
but
so
I'd probably post that on our Patreon for free. But just so if you're in the neighborhood, you might.
But it's free
maybe
on there.
But it's free. But if you're there anyway, why not?
Yeah. Okay, so then we've got our Bretonnian box, which has got that fantastic Duke on peg, and then we've got ourselves some yeoman on foot, several units of those. In fact, yeoman. So let me read what's in there. We have 76 miniatures, new lord on Royal Pegasus. That could be a duke or a baron. And they're backed up by a lance formation of 12 Bretonnian Knights of the Realm, 36 Bretonnian men-at-arms, 24 peasant bowmen with 2 defense stakes. Thank you. Like, that's a selling point, but lol. 3 Pegasus Knights and a Kingdom of Bretonnian transfer sheet with 176 transfers. Okay, so...
How many transfers in the transfer sheet?
176.
That's a lot of transfers.
It's a lot of transfers.
So I'm hoping it's not just this battle axe heraldry. I'm hoping that means that there's like some more trad heraldry on there, because I'm in need of some transference. Men at arms, I love these guys.
You like the men at arms? I actually do like the men at arms. Actually, I think there's some yikesy bits, but they hold up quite well. They paint up quite well, I think, and yeah, really not that bad.
They are squatty as well, but at least they're wearing like a tunic, kind of covers them a little bit. I mean, to your 32 millimeter point, look at the Royale Pegasus, and I love how I think they don't quite understand Force perspective here. Like they should have had like all of the men at arms way in the back and like the Knights of the Realm Knights just like a foot, like 3 inches from the camera, just to like get them maybe scaled correctly. Because that royal peg is looking pretty big.
That royal Pegasus has also been aggressively photoshopped onto that. Like, clear as day.
You think so? No.
Absolutely clear as day.
Is that clear as day?
Clear as day. That has been photoshopped on. Like, I promise you.
Fascinating.
Like, absolutely. The light source on it, for a start, is coming from so many different places compared to what the rest of this, like, the rest of the scene is. Like, Rob for some time did posit a theory that the reason why we weren't seeing models is that they weren't actually painted. And I said, how could that be true? They have to take photos of this stuff to print and put in books and things. And perhaps this is how they got around that, by just photoshopping shit in. That's hilarious. This is the right answer. Last minute, and they just photoed it, because that's photoshopped in, which I think is quite wild. Is the Tomb King stuff photoshopped in? They've at least added a drop shadow on it, if it is, where they have refused to do that with this kind of zero drop shadow. It's so funny. Anyway, so I think a pretty good box. I think most of the models in that box, I'm more confident in that box. If I was going to buy one of these 2 boxes, I think the Bretonnian box would be the one for me. I think that stands up the test of time a bit better, to be honest.
I think the biggest difference between the two is you get the Peg Knights, which are like a special selection, I think, on the what do they call it? Grand Army?
Yeah.
So can we scroll? Alex, can I see the Tomb Kings one more time?
Oh, yeah, sure. No problem, boss.
Is this all core? Is this all core? It's like, it's all, well, at least in 8th, I think, yeah, every single thing we're looking at is core. So,
with the exception of the characters, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, which you get 2 of, which is kind of cool. I got to tell you, my gut also says Brett Box. And also, our poll was leaning heavily Bretonnian. I don't know if you saw the results of our poll on YouTube.
I think Tomb Kings are a great aesthetic. They're a lot like Skaven. But like, you know, you get into fantasy, whatever that might be. You know, Lord of the Rings might be a vehicle, might be some incredible books, like that you read as a kid, like whatever your vehicle into fantasy. And the Knight is a classic. The Knight is a classic. Like, you know, you really have to have been, I think, in fandoms generally for a while before you start being like, do you know what? Mechanical rats, that's for me. Yeah. And similarly, same with Tomb Kings. You're like, oh, yeah, necromantic bone Egyptians. Okay, I'm vibing on that. The Mummy was a great movie. Brendan Fraser is the GOAT. But I still think like it's a tougher sell than the Knight. I think we're just going up against it there.
Do we want to is this an appropriate time to talk about the results of our poll? Because actually, statistically significant sample size. We had 1,000 votes on this, everybody. 1,000 votes. That's the kind of draw we have. We answered our plebiscite. It evened out a little bit, but I said with the Warhammer The Old World initial release lineup finally announced, we have only one question: what you getting? And we had the options of Brett's Tomb Kings, books only, and nothing, you simpy shills, with Grumpy Cat next to it. And it came out as 23% Bretonnians, 18% Tomb Kings, 45% books only, and 14% not getting anything.
I think books only makes a lot of sense. It's where I'm at. It's where I'm at.
Yeah.
But, you know, okay, so the 2 boxes have been announced, okay? Pretty exciting.
Yes.
But I think that kind of like kicks us in. And then like, we could talk about the rule book, we could talk about the expansions. Let's talk about that in a minute. But let's talk about the thing now, which is like, which is relevant. This is the way that you buy Tomb Kings and Bretonnians at launch. And they do talk about this later. At launch, you'll be able to like play Orcs and Goblins. There is no Orcs and Goblins going to be available to buy.
Sure doesn't seem that way, does it, Robert?
No, it does not. It does not.
As I previously said on the Only Old Models show, our only other 10,000 view video on the Honest Wargamer streams. I feel like this is just a big old money giveaway to other like third parties, to resellers on eBay, to everyone else to like not come out with with other factions together at the same time. And maybe they didn't even say soon. I believe their phrasing, and when we get there, we can talk about it. I'm pretty sure their phrasing for when other models come out is, quote, in due course, which is just nut chilling. Like that just scrotal retraction on someone saying in due course. That feels quite indefinite to me. So I don't know what that means for this game. I really don't.
I think, okay, so yeah, let's talk about that, because I think that's the big story. I mean, there's two big stories. The release is exciting, but that's why I said that there are two stories, and that's an important one, is that this, especially for like the production meta, which is the thing that I talk about, which is how long it takes you to, build and buy the models, paint them up and play them on the tabletop. Obviously, there are already a lot of existing armies out there in the wild, but what's up?
I accidentally looked at the chat. I know I'm not supposed to because I can't do both, but who said this? This is David. Dave dies a lot. They meant to say in due course because they move at a literally medieval pace.
That's good. That's good.
Zing!
Zing.
Sorry to interrupt.
No. So I think like if you are new and you're excited about getting into the old world, but you're like, yeah, cool, Bretonnians, Tomb Kings, but obviously they've announced that you're going to get to play dwarfs. I can't wait to play dwarfs. And then you're just stood there like, oh my God, I literally can't buy them. That's going to be a wild time if that ends up being the situation, which is the situation I think we are going to end up at. Val has been pointing out for several months, how are they going to build up the production capacity to have everything available to buy at the start? The simple answer is they're not.
Sure looks that way.
And that's going to be, like you say, that's a boon. And I honestly think, I think the fact that we still, and we're going to talk about this in a bit, that we're going to get army rules for all of the armies is actually kind of like generous is not the right word, but it's kind of like, yeah, do you know what? We'll sell you stuff when we get to it. It's a terrible business decision. Like if I was actually a business guy at Games Workshop, I'd be like, what are you doing? But as a project for like the community, if that's what, how we want to see it, it's actually really beneficial because I could go buy dwarfs in lots of places, dwarf cannons and 3D print dwarfs and all those other things. So actually, that's pretty legit, like, to be honest.
Like the slogan I like to say is that GW is the only place where you can buy Warhammer, but you can buy miniatures all over the place and a lot of good ones. And I guess that opens things up. And I want to just say that a very square-based approach. And I will say maybe the first line of our tournament pack, and I think you'll be with me, is that we'll be model agnostic. I think you have to be. I think we have to be able to support different looks as long as it's within, reason. And different model lines, different manufacturers to support this game. And I think that 45% of people out there buying books, that's what's going to keep this game alive. I think this clearly is a book-driven business model because they're not doing a lot with new models, which is where GW tends to make their money. So like whenever that Royal Peg comes out separately, you can go grab your Royal Pegasus or whatever, and it feels like a book-driven thing.
Let's also dismiss that myth. Because I also see that comment in the chat that if this doesn't sell particularly well at launch, it's going to immediately be dead. That's so incredibly untrue. The resources they've put into this are close to minimal, basically nothing. And so, and if you look at the other game systems which they still support to this day, a good example would be Underworlds. But even Necromunda, which I love, but is not a world-burning seller. This is me and Val could probably support this with a couple of purchases. So I think it's going to be more than fine.
Everything that we're about to look at in this reveal is going to sell out on day one. So get into your queue, and if you want any of this, don't sleep on it because it's going to be sold out before the pre-order's over. And I'm very confident in that. And I think it's definitely going to hang around. I think someone actually very early on pointed out that the SDS model is much more laissez-faire about model releases, and they do tend to give you rules first so that you can actually play your game.
Just clarity,
and get around to it later.
I don't want to interrupt you. Finish your point, but SDS is what Forge World is now Specialist Design Studio SDS. So that's what it is. Sorry.
and it's a bit murky, but I don't know if they still do Horus Heresy or not. But the progenitors of Horus Heresy. Someone has pointed out in chat, and other people in comments on YouTube have pointed out that the Middle Earth strategy battle game, which is much venerated, is sort of a take it or leave it kind of offering from GW at this point. So they sort of support it. All they do really is release old models. Very rarely does anything new come out for it. And it's just sort of there to grab. I don't think it's quite that dire at all based on what we see them coming to the table with here. I feel like this game in time will be completely supported. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a hard game to play. You're gonna have to want it bad.
Yeah, I mean, Warhammer is hard. I agree. Also, I think someone's saying in the chat, and I think this is fair to say, like maybe I don't really feel like it's getting that support, Rob. And I'm like, listen, this is being presented literally like a side game. This is being presented like a Necromunda would be or something else, not like 40k, not like AOS. So they're going to have the sales expectations of just what a side game is. You're not getting like, I remember, because I literally was with Games Workshop. I went to Essen in Germany to launch Blood Bowl. They did big stands and there was a whole thing. Blood Bowl was a big effort to sell Blood Bowl. Yeah. Necromunda had a bunch of launch videos and stuff. And they made some real effort with Necromunda. This has had so much less effort. And therefore, their expectations are going to be so much lower. So when this thing sells like a mainline game, which I absolutely believe it's going to do, they are going to be shook. Like, that's what I think is going to happen.
Let's also point out here, they're releasing this after Christmas when everyone is broke. Like, it is the first, likely, I mean, it feels to me like this is going to be literally the first release of the new year. The first thing that goes on pre-order. Like everyone's going to be tapped. We have not even a chance to have gotten a paycheck since Christmas. So like from a strategic rollout perspective, it is definitely being slow rolled. So all kinds of questions around that to me. But it doesn't feel like it's not a support. It doesn't feel like a half-assed game at all to me. It does feel like the people who were able to put time into it have fully baked this thing. What they don't have is the logistical, like full might of Games Workshop behind it. And I think honestly, although this might be how it's rolling out in the immediate term, I really do believe that this is going to be a winner. I really do believe it. Like I think that in time, and it takes time for them to notice these things, they'll realize that there should be more resources attached to it. And I think we're going to see not only the game continue, as Rob was pointing out, that this game's not going to go away, but also get more as time goes on.
It's going. Again, I'm back. When I saw all the old models, I was down. But if you follow the year-long course, it started out with me screaming at the Twitch chat, this thing is going to be huge. Yes. And now we're here. This thing is going to be huge. My timeline has exploded. Exploded. So it's going to be huge. I got nothing but faith. So we got the big blue book, the BBB.
BBBBB.
The BBBBB. What do you think of the front cover? Pretty?
I love this design. I think it looks gorgeous. I love the teal, the whatever you want to call this, which I think is kind of a reference to sort of the Tomb King color.
Oh, do we want to call it the BTB, the Big Teal Book?
The Big Teal Book, BTB.
The BTB.
Yeah, maybe. I love the logo. I think it looks wonderful. Also, I believe there's a bit of a potential Easter egg here in that the good and evil pairings, so far anyway, Bretonnians on the left, Tomb Kings on the right. Perhaps that means our pairings are High Elves versus Chaos, Dwarves versus Orcs. And nice. Woodies versus Beastmen, and then Empire versus itself.
Oh, what a guess! That's great.
That's not me. That's definitely other people who noticed that. But I will 100% say that I noticed that and said it loudest on hopefully a 10,000 view show.
I like how we got one 10,000 view video. We won't shut up about it.
I don't get out of bed for less than 10,000 views, Rob. By the way,
well, you're gonna have to.
It makes me feel so good inside, guys. I know that's unhealthy for all sorts of reasons, but thank you so much for watching. It means a lot, and it makes me so excited.
The Big Teal book, I'm excited to read. Rulebook will also be available separately. Great news. And oh my God, I can't. Just let me get there because I'm thrilled. This weighty 352-page tome features over 70 pages of background. Love that. On the world of Legend. Love that. Plus core and advanced rules for the game. Love that. An explanation of winds of magic and rules for casting. A gallery of armies painted Heavy Metal Studio style. And building armies and setting the battlefields. I'm going to do this. It will also be released as a digital EPUB version.
Unbelievable.
Oh my God.
What? Okay.
We are so old world that we now are doing EPUBs, like which 40K have just moved away. 40K are in somehow in like 2093 when digital publications aren't available anymore. But we got it. We got it. An EPUB. Huge news.
Does STS do this with other games? That was my first thought. Like, can you buy Horus Heresy in EPUB? Can you buy Necromunda in EPUB? Or is this just like...
Yeah. So this is an STS thing.
Okay.
Because they beat their own drum.
So there you go, guys. And by the way, EPUB is a real pain in the dick to deal with. Would love to see a PDF. Womp womp. But I love this. I think that's
turn
so
an EPUB into a PDF website.
Yes, it can be done. It can be done. I know. Yeah. I'm aware.
I assume this will be a PDF like 2 days after release.
Yes,
available for everyone.
Definitely gonna make assimilating these rules into much easier to use websites and army builder apps much easier. Thank you very much, SDS.
Let's go. So huge news. But then the next bit is very, very exciting. And all of these books we're about to talk about are all in EPUB. I can't tell you how incredibly good that is. That's excellent. Incredible. Like, you can't literally buy main game stuff, which is wild.
Yep.
Okay. So rules for all 9 factions in the game. So these are the kind of core factions, will be not the renegade factions, will be available at launch in one of 2 tomes covering the forces of good and evil, called it again, Forces of Fantasy and Ravening Hordes, respectively. So they have obviously broken those up.
I called the actual title. I just want to say I literally called the title of this book.
You're a superstar. Congratulations.
Not Forces of Fantasy, unfortunately. But definitely Ravening Hordes. I said you'd see that name, and here it is.
So you've got Forces of Fantasy, and then in them, so Forces of Fantasy is a 192-page book available in hardback and EPUB, covering 5 factions: the Dwarven Mountain Holds, goats; the Empire of Man, pretty chill; Kingdom of Bretonnia, posh boys; and the Wood Elf Realms, fancy lads in the forest. And the High Elf Realms, the worst one, obviously. No offense, High Elf players, which is cool. So a lot of armies in there, and these are going to make up what we call a grand army list, right? So this is going to be your core. This is going to be a full army list. This is everything you're going to be able to play for each of those factions. So it's not like, we talked about, if you've never played any Games Workshop games and this is all you know, then when they reset editions, sometimes with 40K and Age of Sigmar, you get what called index editions. So they start with a brand new index where it's very, very light. This is a full army way to play that army list. That's exciting, right?
Sure. Yeah, sure feels that way. I can't wait to actually see, but every indication we've seen so far is that the unit entries in these are loaded with rules. Each one is going to take a long time to parse. I'm actually super worried about the future of the show because now we're actually going to have to get into the crunchy technicals of things. And that's where, I'm a platitudes guy. I'm a big picture macro guy, Rob. So I'm going to lean on you hard when we actually start analyzing this stuff.
Oh, don't worry. I am literally a crunchy rules guy. So
you are. So hopefully I'll just always wear a Santa suit. That'll maintain my relevancy. But it's so exciting because this is a complete game. Again, not necessarily complete range, not complete model support, but a complete game. And that is so cool to me, and I'm really, really thrilled.
Well, this is what I mean. Like, if they launched with just like brand new Tomb King set, brand new Bretonnian set, that would be really cool. And they were like, that's it. In 3 months, 6 months' time, next army to add to the mix. I would kind of also understand that strategy. I really, really would. But just to launch it and be like, boom, you got some Warriors of Chaos at home? Here you go. Yeah, like, you've got some dwarfs knocking around. There you go. And bro.
How many pages? How many pages total? Can we see that? Can you scroll down just a half tick for me? So,
So
what do we got?
192 for
92.
for Forces of Fantasy, and then a little less, obviously, for the other one. So I'll read through. Each army gets an introduction, a gallery of miniatures, a grand army composition list. That's why I'm getting that grand army thing. So it's going to be all of your rules. A complete set of unit profiles. So you'll need no need for a separate army book to play. And special rules, magic items, and unique spells.
Ooh, yes.
Which is great. So its own spell lore, which is great. Magic items, which I am so jonesed about. I can't begin to tell you. I think I'm really, really excited about either kit bashing magic items or like just thrilled beyond all measure.
And I just very rapidly did a little math. So that's a total of 352 pages of army rules, which averages out to 39 pages of rules per faction.
That's amazing.
That's girthy. That is a girthy amount of rules per faction, which, I mean, again, like as far as like things that reassure me, this is not going to be a half-assed vanilla list. These are going to be like real armies that we'll be able to play, hopefully not for how many years, 2010, 13 years without an update. But like, you know, like these will be things that I think last a good while and will take a long time to really get into the nitty gritty of. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, really, really good. So then, and then the Ravening Hordes, unique spells, dude. Like, I could do like 2 hours about what I want in this alone, right? So like, just so good. Ravening Hordes contains all your evil factions. It was kind of interesting because this clearly went to print but like before the backlash that we got. Remember when they posted up that album and they were like, "Forces of good, forces of evil," and we were all like, "Yikes!" But they stuck with it, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Evil factions. It's 160 page hardback or EPUB. It's going to be an EPUB. And the Warriors of Chaos, the Beastmen Bray Herds, and Tomb Kings of Khemri. So that's actually super exciting. Warriors of Chaos. I think going to be crazy popular. Their update in Age of Sigmar miniatures wise, you can 1-for-1 buy pretty much everything that you're going to see there. So we actually should talk about that. Buying the Empire of Man is going to be a little bit more difficult.
Impossible.
Dwarven Mountain Holds will be also close to impossible. Then Bretonnia is being released. Wood Elf Realms will also be impossible. And then High Elf Realms, you can definitely just convert out lots of elements from the LRL range, so Lumineth Realm Lords range. I think Cities of Sigmar retain their dwarves. So they got rid of, for Cities of Sigmar, they removed all of the Wood Elf and Empire, right? Yeah, so they kept some. So like you don't have you have Rangers and Quarrelers. You don't have Dwarf Warriors, but you do have Shield Breakers. You do have Iron Drakes. You do have Hammerers, and you got a couple of characters as well. But you won't have cannons. You won't have Stone Throwers. You won't have any of those. Gyrocopters are still there. Gyro Bombers. So they're all available. So you definitely will be able to buy sections of the
Flagellant's still there. That's an Empire unit. That's
Flagellant's is still there. Yeah, definitely. And some of them are like 1-for-1s as well. Yeah, but you won't be able to get you won't be able to get not Griffhounds. What are they called? Demigriff Knights. You won't be able to get things like that. Steam Tank is still available. Steam Tank is still a thing. So. All right, okay, so then from Ravening Hordes, Orc and Goblin Tribes, you'll be able to buy most of that from Age of Sigmar. Warriors of Chaos, most of that from Age of Sigmar.
Orc and Goblin Tribes are not, like, you got Gloomspite and you've
Savage
got...
Orcs.
Bone Splitters still exist? Okay, that's cool.
Bone Splitters still there.
You've got, and then you've got the redone, like, super beefy and dope as hell. What would they been? Not Ard Boys.
Ard Boys, which would be Black Orcs.
Black Orcs, yeah.
Yeah, so
there's definitely some options. They're not complete ranges, but like you could get some options from GW if you need that official smell, you know?
Yeah. Some of it is just for ease, right? And then you got Beastmen Bray Herds, that's all available from G-Dubs, and then Tomb Kings, which they're releasing. So kind of like sky is falling moments, you won't be able to buy lots of it. You won't be able to buy some of it. And there will be alternates, which is interesting. So I think that's pretty cool. And you'll need the main Warhammer Old World rulebook to use either. Probably you'll use reference sheets, but whatever. And then, so that's pretty exciting. And then we get Arcane Journals, and this is even more awesome. In addition to these hefty hardback books, these are Arcane Journals. So just consider it to be like DLC. Softback books for each faction that expand out with history, heraldry maps, special characters, including certain undead emperor. Hello? Hello.
Emperor of Mankind confirmed, etc.
Magic item spells, a historic scenario, and thematic armies of infamy, which lets you select armies of different compositions. So you've got an Arcane Journal from Bretonnian, Tomb Kings and Kemri. I'm going to read through all of this and we'll talk about it after. How's that sound?
Okay, yeah.
For instance, Arcane Journal, Kingdoms of Bretonnia, there are rules for armies of Bretonnian exiles and errantry crusades, while Arcane Journal, Tomb Kings of Kemri provide the Nekaharen Royal Host and the Mortuary Cults. It's important to know that you don't require an Arcane Journal to play the chosen faction. All the units and army rules are contained in Ravening Hordes of Forces of Fantasy, but they do provide a trove of extra options and extra depth for discerning generals. The Arcane Journals for Kingdom of Bretonnia and Tomb King Kemri will arrive at launch alongside their army releases, with those other factions following in the future. Kick me off with what you think.
Well, we sort of discussed what we hope just from that little teaser from the army list. Preview almanac, and I really love this as a way of doing it. So you have your core, everything you need in that other book, and then maybe some extra flavor pieces available to you here. Also giving shouting back to something we talked about, which is just because again, there's not a lot of new model support. These are remixes. These are reasons to revisit. If you already have a Tomb King army, well, maybe you're not wanting to design it, but perhaps you'll be inspired by the royal host here to want to go do something different. Or in Kingdoms of Bretonnia, like an errantry crusade, or what's the other one? Border Princes? Something? Is it border? What is it?
It's it's the Bretonnian Exiles.
Exiles. Okay, so we'll assume they're in the Border Princes or something like that. Bretonnian Exiles sounds pretty awesome to me, and a totally different way to think about the goody good guys of Bretonnia. So maybe there's some cool stuff in there. So again, a reason to engage and do something new. And again, not because they've, given you a bunch of new models and things like that, but just because they've given you a mind boner, as Rob calls it. Let your imagination fire off and be excited. You know what I mean?
So I also think Arcane Journals are going to be the way that we also see a bunch of new miniatures as well. See released. So we see a Cetra there. So I think we're going to see a resin Cetra, like an updated new Cetra. Similarly, they go on. So I've read also the Fantasy Almanac, which they did in another post on the community site to talk about the Green Knight. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Green Knight, for example, get a new plastic kit or resin kit, whichever resin kit probably. Coming out, and that's going to be in Kingdom of Bretonnia, the Arcane Journal. I got to say, I think this is so exciting. I think that
I really like this.
This is going to feel a little overwhelming, and I've seen this written online loads, and I find it a little bit disingenuous. But I understand. I need 3 books to play, and I'm I kind of understand how you feel. You've got to buy the rule book, and that's a book. I understand, but you don't have to. That'll just be available online. Then you've got to buy the one of the 2 your army list book, but again that'll be online. If you just want the rules, that'll just be online. So you don't have to buy any of these. And then the 3rd book, I guess, in that series is your expansion, and I think that's actually awesome because when I get my Dwarven Mountain Holds list initially. It might take 2 years, but eventually when I get my DLC, I'll be really ready for my DLC.
Sure,
It's just at the moment, it's just an initial bam bam 3-book launch, and I get it. If you're first in the queue, that feels like a lot. But 2 years down the line, or even a year down the line, when I get my expansion for Warriors of Chaos, I'll be hype. I'll be excited. So it's just a kind of a timing issue versus anything else, in my opinion.
Yes. So exciting to these guys. There's some of even just in the names of the thematic armies, the armies of infamy that they're available here. Already kind of excited, already immediately confused. What do I do with my Bretonnians? Should I start making them a bunch of cool badasses or what? Whereas the other armies have so many cooler things that they could do. Empire, obviously we're in the era of the 3 emperors. So maybe we're gonna get armies of infamy for the different battling factions of the Empire. Maybe these guys seem to have 2 each. Maybe other larger factions have more than that or less than that. It's very, very cool. And it, again, just provides easy for them to inject a little bit of excitement, on a hopefully not too frequent, but frequent enough basis.
What's good about this? What's good about this is if you're collecting Bretonnia and not Tomb Kings, it's one book. Like when they bring out the Warriors of Chaos one, it's just going to be Warriors of Chaos. Like if you're playing them, great. If not, Warriors of Chaos, I would love to see 4, like maybe 5, an undivided list, Nurgle list. Like that would be kind of fun. Yeah. Like who knows? That could be really fun. And it does sound like I think this is a great way to do this because this gives them an easy way to update like the armies. But they're like, all the rules for an army, here you go. Here's some expanded stuff. But it's not just like, here's just some additional stuff by it, like we're seeing with like the Dark Angels thing for 40K at the minute.
One thing we have made a big deal of, sorry to interrupt, is how through the cafe information pipeline, just the concept that all of the armies and the renegades, everything, and these ones as well, were developed together in concert. I'm curious if future books are in development or have been developed. Like, is this a fully baked from the start edition, or will we see them learning stuff as they release future Arcane Journals, which can also be a little dangerous? It would be great. I would love to know if on the back end, like all of the Arcane Journals ready to go already. That'd be great.
I reckon there's at least a year's worth of Arcane Journals done.
Whatever. Yes, but you can see like in previous editions of Warhammer stuff that I've followed closely, you can often see what has been developed at like sort of contemporaneously, like play tested against or worked with. This was very, very apparent in 9th edition 40K. Certain things just were clearly created together with other things, and there was like wild disparities in power. One thing, though, that I think will ground these armies is that fundamentally they're going to draw from unit entries that are locked in already. Like they're locked into the Grand Army lists and the unit entries in the Grand Army lists. So like I hope that also helps keep things relatively on the level. Obviously, there's going to be winners and losers. There's going to be good factions and bad factions, no matter what they do. It's the way these games work. But I am hopeful that we see a decent amount of rules continuity. Not just like each one is more powerful than the next. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. So then, for instance, Arcane Journal Bretonnia has rules for Armies of Bretonnia Exiles. We've talked about that already. Arcane Journals King of Bretonnia will release at the same time. But then, and this is why I think we're going to see new minis, we see Nekfa, the emissary of Cetra, reading her... Nakaf. Reading her like Christmas bill there. Not wanting to be outdone, self-important short-lived mortals of Bretonnia, the Venon powerful hungry royalty of Kemria have a handful of other new miniatures up their sandy sleeves. So we've seen Nekfa.
That one might be my favorite so far.
This one is excellent. This one is brilliant.
Because that's Cetra's... I assume that's Cetra's name.
Oh, what? Like Daenerys.
Like
all of the names.
All of his titles, yeah. And like all the scarabs crawling all over. I really enjoy this model. Yeah.
That's an excellent mini, especially for painters. They're going to have a great time with that, in my opinion. And then Cetra the Imperishable has accumulated a truly prodigious number of epithets and achievements over long centuries of unlife, and the seemingly endless list of titles and victories recounted in full by his loyal servant, Nekaf, before each battle. Luckily, animated skeletons are very patient, armed with enchanted flail of Conquered Kings. Nekaf, the emissary of Cetra, pulverizes those. We also have then a battle standard bearer, which I'm not sure if we've seen before or haven't seen before.
No, we have not seen this guy.
Okay, so
these are actually all new releases. They just only talked about Bretonnians and then everything about the Tomb Kings in one go. So there you go.
It's like just a glut, right? And then we've also seen a new Tomb Swarm. So we are seeing brand new models which are going to be accompanying with this Arcane Journal. Which is very exciting, and we've got to I think we're seeing they're saving it, but there's gonna be a Cetra. There is gonna be a Cetra, 100%. I'll bet the house. I'll bet the house on it. I'm doing it.
All right, house on Cetra.
House on Cetra. All in.
I feel like we would have seen him, Rob, but no. I might have led with Cetra myself. But
because he won't be in the box, right? Like they want you to buy the dragon.
Not in the box.
They want you to buy the dragon, and then they want to hit you day 2. Here's Cetra, and you're like, okay, obviously I'm going to buy that as well. So
obviously, I could just
yeah.
What do we think of these swarms?
I think they're really good.
there?
I think they're really, really good. The swarms. I don't really have much to say about them. I always find kind of swarm bases in the past a bit of a nothing burger, to be honest. But they're good. They're good, I guess.
Yeah, I like that they're sort of they're I don't know, tumbling clouds of scarabs. I guess that's pretty cool. I don't know about all the junk in there. Like they're floating along with a bunch of skeletons and bits that they've picked up. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, I agree. The Lich Priests and Mortuary Cults are well versed in dark arts and necromancy and bolster their armies of their masters of the rising tomb swarms, comprised of the reanimated corpses or whatever. On top of all these, a full range of classic Khemri miniatures will be returning to bolster the forces featured in the article, with much more to come in the future. So,
and I want to highlight that, like the extra Bretonnian special characters, I don't think that they really say this explicitly anywhere. Those are almost assuredly Forge World resin. Those are not plastic kits for anyone who might be hopeful.
Agreed.
So yeah, these are going to be specialty items at a nice little markup.
Yeah.
Continuing.
The Bretonnians and Tomb Kings. Well, so more to come in the future. The Bretonnians and Tomb Kings are just the first of 9 factions arriving in the World of Legend. The rules for other 7 will be available at launch in Force of Fantasy Ravening Horde. And look out for miniature releases for the other 7 in due course. Don't worry if you're more of a follower of Ashut or interpreter of the Great Plan. Legacy army lists, or so our Renegade factions, Legacy army lists, PDFs for the other 7 factions from Warhammer Fantasy Battles will be available shortly after launch. All that's left now
causing great consternation.
Yeah.
Continuing.
And all that's to be left now is the launch date, which is going to be early January. I think they posted that accidentally in another post or something. But early January. And I do think those PDFs will be like the day after, or there'll be the pre-order window, which will be 2 weeks, and then we'll see the PDFs arrive after that 2-week window when stuff's on sale, is what I expect to see.
Yeah, the shortly after launch wording of the Renegade PDFs or Legacy factions, I might be okay with Legacy faction, as opposed to just as long as it's not legended. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Legend, bit of a loaded term. But yeah, that's causing some great consternation online, if only because people, again, with shortly after launch could mean a lot of things in GW speak. Not quite as damning as due course, in my opinion. But so yeah, I think we should be pretty confident, just like Rob said, that those Renegade factions, the Legacy PDFs, will arrive promptly following launch. But obviously not before people have an opportunity to grab the stuff that they are, quote, officially supporting. And I'm really excited. Also, based on that, in due course about other models, I will once again point out to all the people who are moaning about how the Legacy factions are getting shafted, how all those other ones are, how like a lot of really significant factions, vampire counts, Lizardmen, Skaven, and 3 others aren't, quote, supported. Well, actually, guys, they're more supported than almost all of the core factions, because you can buy almost the entire range of Skaven. You can buy the entire range of Lizardmen. You can buy all of those ones because they are fully supported AOS, often with beautiful, refreshed model ranges. Ogres are in that, and that line is almost complete still. So yeah. Ironically, I think if you're getting into this, the easiest factions to get into will be the 2 at launch, Bretonnians and Tomb Kings, and then any of those Renegade factions will be much easier to actually engage with and build an army from, if you don't want to go to third party and you really do want official miniatures.
Yeah, I think I can understand people's reservation. This is a messy launch. Like, as much as I'm excited, and this article has been full of stuff. We could have talked about, especially as we did shows on literally nothing, for several months. We could have talked about several of those sections for a while. And there's so many pros and cons for each one of those different bits, really. Warhammer Fantasy Battles, or like the Old World, is going to be a very tough game for new players to get into. It's going to be Warhammer is hard to the max. But crunchy people are going to love it.
Yes.
There's lots of models missing, and that's really difficult. But hobbyists who like 3D printing or like getting alternate sculpts or even going to alternate ranges or whatever are going to have a field day. Kit bashes galore.
Yes.
So there's pros and cons to a lot of what this release is. I really do think that. A return to the old world, excellent. Not even the time period So if you were in love with, a character of the time, around the end times, they might be gone. And so you're going to have to accept that. And then you're going to have to find new characters to fall in love with. So there is lots of pros and cons to this release. I really do think that. But I think there's definitely lots of pros if you're excited about all the pros, if that makes sense. And the cons are just really things that are manageable and require some thought and effort. And some people don't want to do that, and I understand, but I'm excited. And I think that article is awesome.
As the longer I've been involved in this, this hobby / lifestyle, the more I've come to view the hardness. So like the difficulty of doing this as a feature and not a bug. I think it does get people much more invested in a weird way. And this is not on purpose, by the way, guys. In this specific case, Warhammer, when it's like just click what you want and buy the kits alone is difficult. But Warhammer, the old world is difficult beyond that. You got to source your own stuff. You're going to have to be really creative with how you put together armies, probably even for the supported factions, I'm going to say, like even Bretonnian and Tomb Kings out of the gate. They've referenced a bombard, for example, in the army building article. There is no bombard, guys. There's no such thing. So you're going to have to figure out what a bombard is and make one. So maybe there's a resin kit coming, but I see no indication as to that kind of support. So I feel like though that as long as the people who have some hobby privilege, such as myself, I've got lots of things ready to go. I'm going to be wildly enthusiastic. I'm going to be out there, hopefully, organizing RTTs and events just to get people going. We just need to embrace chaos and focus on the community and providing our friends and folks who are also interested in this and excited, means to be able to participate. And I think that's something that we can do as fun and interesting content to the community. Like here's an army guide for how to create orcs and goblins right now. With official stuff and not official stuff. Just find ways to make the entry somewhat possible rather than just, well, I can't buy it on GW, I can't do it. And also just enthusiastically playing, getting out there. I think there's going to be a very, excited spirit of people who have been waiting for, what is now the official Warhammer Fantasy Battles 9th edition. Here it is, the old world. There's going to be a lot of people who I think will just excitedly start rolling dice. And I hope that's going to be infectious and get people interested to overcome some of these hurdles. Because ultimately that's what it doesn't matter how high that bar to entry is, if it is a good game, if it is something that people are excited to play and go out and do, it really doesn't matter. People are going to figure it out. They're going to play it. Hopefully we can keep that momentum.
I agree with you. I think it won't matter for the people who are enthused, and then for the other people, like they are just going to struggle, right? Like it's kind of, I think it's a lot of like the Elden Ring conversation from a few years ago when people were like, it's too hard, and they were like, make it easier, and people were like, no. That's not the point, right? The point is it's difficult. And I don't
we do these things not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
But I specifically hated Armored Core 6 because I played the first mission and it was just awful. Like, and there's a lot of conversation, and I know I'm going to get some get good scrub quotes. But you pick your kind of like energy level going into this. I think one of the things that should also be said, obviously, is like, listen, I love Lizardmen. Lizardmen are my faction. Chaos Dwarfs, Lizardmen, these are my boys, right? Lizardmen and Chaos Dwarfs aren't going to get support across this edition, most likely. They're a legacy army. They're a renegade army. I know that going in, okay? Yeah. So while I am gutted about that process, I'm not going to buy that army or print that army or whatever, start playing with it, and then bitch 2 years down the line there's no support. I already know there's going to be no support.
That's true, right?
Don't make that decision. Don't pick up a legacy army with like, well, hopefully I'll get some. Don't do that. Come on. They've told you out the gate. And that's also pretty cool as well. It's not good. Like, I wish that was not the case, but it's good that they've told you ahead of time. And I'm rooting for that. I mean, I wish it was all of them, but whatever.
it's rare that they set expectations as much as they actually have here. And that is actually a good square-based approach that SDS has done. We haven't seen, and actually when they first started doing the almanacs, they did reference that they were going to talk about the future of the game. We haven't seen a comment yet about the future of the game. Maybe that's what they mean by, rolling out the core factions over time. But I would, any sort of a roadmap or indication would be wonderful. But honestly, guys, like, we're going to have so much to sink our teeth into. It's going to be nuts. That's not even to say that also, guys, there's TTS out there. There's ways that we'll be able to engage with this game on so many levels. So yeah, I'm just really, really excited to see how this game actually works now that we're going to put it on a table and actually have to play the damn thing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think one of the things that's going to be really exciting for me, and there's so many things I want to do. I want to build up Lord's characters with magic items and all that other stuff. I want to start like thinking about units. I'm like, okay, this magic banner is obviously really good. There's so many more resources that are available now. We're going to help produce resources in the future. So shout out for that to help the community, and the community themselves are going to start producing resources. We got this. And this is the other thing as well, from the Crunchy perspective, and I know you said this earlier, this is a game that I expect so many people to be like, this is a lot. From a rules perspective. Because there's this kind of hilarious clashing commentary where people are like, yeah, it's a game for casual players. I'm like, are you on crack? Because this is not. This is going to require a lot of investment emotionally and mentally to learn and put down those rules in your head. And so, this isn't going to be that game. So, and they've made that statement. But for Crunchy rules people, it's exciting. I'm all about that. I'm like, let's go. This is pretty fun. So anyway, I think there's lots to say about this, and we haven't even scratched the surface in somehow an hour and a half show that we've been talking about. And hopefully everyone can see the enthusiasm and excitement that we both have, because I have lots, and I know Val does too. Now, have you got any other final thoughts, or do you want me to hit you up with the rumor I heard?
My final thought would be just last week. We were talking about release date on this, and the accidental leak that they actually had two. There was a Twitter leak that said get ready to play Old World in February from the official post. I never knew whether or not that was real, just because it I don't know, anyone can Photoshop a tweet from the official account. But the more recent one was that there's a Bretonnian book, which they did a really great full preview on, which we haven't even talked about, that was accidentally put up for pre-order, for release on January the 20th. And Rob, also doing some special investigation on the ground in Nottingham, discovered that he could not book a table at Warhammer World on January 20th. So we feel very strongly that that's probably the release date, and this gives us that indication again here. So yeah, my final thought is this game is, I think they're probably going to announce the pre-order is coming up. Usually they do that at the end of the weekend. So we're thinking Sunday? Yeah, maybe Sunday we'll see that this is going to go up for pre-order the following weekend, which is what? What are we thinking? What is that? Following
6th.
Weekend? The 6th.
It's happening, baby.
Woo!
It's happening. And if that is the 6th, then that does mean anyone that has early access to these rules, like the content creators around the world, that's when they're going to start publishing all this information, which is going to be hot. And also, could I just say something, Val? I'm kind of hype about that, because I can't imagine your classic. We already know that they've got the books, right? I can't imagine that there aren't many people out there in the content sphere that are Warhammer Fantasy Battle people anymore, right? Or ever were. And so them getting this book and being like, I'm not reading this.
What? What is this?
What the hell is this?
Yeah.
Opening that bad boy up. So I think we're going to have some really funny hot takes on launch, and I'm excited about that.
And again, if you're overwhelmed, if you're feeling like I am a hooked up content creator and I have all of these rules and I don't know where to even begin, just slide into my DMs. Just get out your cell phone. Just take a couple quick pics of what you got, and I'll help you parse it. No problem, live on air.
Yeah, come on.
And we'll help. We're here to help hooked up content creators on NDAs completely blow up their NDAs by accident by bragging about it online. So yeah.
All right. Well, I'm excited. And thank you for listening to the show. My rumor, though. Yes. My rumor is I have heard that we are going to get a plastic kit.
What?
It's my rumor, a plastic kit. Okay.
Go ahead.
Right,
Go ahead.
a plastic kit. Now I'm going to let you all into what I think this plastic kit is going to be. Well, so this is the rumor. It is a plastic, and I will leave pinned to the top of the YouTube channel as a top comment what that plastic kit is rumored to be. That's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. Like a bitch. Like an absolute bitch.
Also, I need to officially rescind the 100% reply guarantee because I was dying. I'm going to get back to some percentage guarantee. Now we're not in Christmas. So everyone who has commented and I haven't replied, I am deeply sorry. I will try and chug through as many as I can. I was keeping pace for a while there, but Christmas got in the way of being able to talk to you guys. So thank you for the engagement. Really, really do appreciate it. Now we're definitely reading them, and they're awesome. So yeah.
Oh well. So I'll announce which faction it was for. Yeah.
Okay.
Faction is a plastic kit, a large plastic kit for the Warriors of Chaos. That's the rumor. Now this is just a rumor. Okay. A rumor. So
that's very interesting.
That's the rumor. As always, thank you for being square-based. It's exciting. Let us know what you think and feel. Please, obviously, do not share this video or the podcast feed to anyone in any Facebook groups, Discords, Twitters. Don't do that. Stop that.
Final big news here. Warhammer The Old World Facebook group changed their terms. They changed their rules. And I asked, is Squarebase still banned? And they said, doesn't look like you're on the list. So I assume they looked literally for Squarebase in their ban list and then assumed. So please, let's continue to not post this in the Warhammer The Old World Facebook group. But might not be getting deleted because my last one that I posted there 100% got taken down. So whoopsie doodle. We'll try to not do that again this week.
All right, perfect. Listen, loads of love. Thank you to Val. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, or whatever else you celebrate around the world. Look after yourselves, your family, and if you are ever sad, feeling alone, make sure to reach out. There's people who love you. There's people who care about you. So make sure you look after yourselves over this tough period.
Hell yeah.
So that's important. Loads of love. See you guys soon. Goodbye.